Thank you, Stephen. I think I'll put this in here. I am so delighted that all of you came tonight to help me celebrate my retirement. I've always, in the last month or so, had a lot of people congratulating me on my retirement. And I started thinking, is it really congratulations? They're saying goodbye, good riddance. So maybe that's not really the word, but I think certainly it'll be fun to have a little more rest and sleep later in the morning. And but they've got a computer at the office for me, and I'll still plan to go in. Already Becky set up a tour for me to do on Thursday. So, so I don't think I'll be going far. What I thought I would share with you this evening, I jotted down a bunch of my favorite memories, and I just thought you might like to hear some of them tonight. So we'll go through some of my favorite memories. They're not in any particular order, and they cover pretty much 40 years of my career. We'll start with hunting out Ub Iwerks in a tiny little office tucked away in the ink and paint building at the studio and listening to him talk about the birth of Mickey Mouse. Wow. Purchasing a collection of 40 1940s and 1950s cartoon posters for a total of $100. As you know, these posters now sell for several $1,000s a piece. Going to lunch in Napa, California with Diane Disney Miller and her husband Ron. And they invited Dorothy Disney Pewter and her husband to join us. Dorothy was the daughter of Walt's brother Herb. Being surprised when Lou Debney walked into the archives one day with an old gentleman and introduced him to me as Raymond Disney, Walt's older brother, who was in his 90s. And hadn't been to the studio in decades since he had a falling out with Walt and Roy. He was, I'll digress, tell you the story. He was an insurance man, and for a number of years he handled the insurance for the company. But the company grew so big that it was pretty hard for the company to rely on a single insurance agent to handle all of the insurance for the company, and so Walt and Roy took the business away from Ray, and of course he didn't appreciate that, and so they didn't talk for years and years and years. Walt never talked to him again, and I don't know if Roy did either. Visiting Ruth Disney Beecher at her home in Portland, Oregon, and interviewing her on tape. On noticing an organ in her living room, I commented how I enjoyed organ music. "Let's go get some pizza," she said, and we went to a nearby pizza parlor that featured a pipe organ. Who would have thought that I would be having pizza with Walt's sister? Being the first Disney contact for a number of kids who were Disney fans and aspired to work for the company, I encouraged such kids as Tony Anselmo, Ty Urban, Stephen Clark, Stacia Martin, Michael Manny, Jeff Curdy, Ryan March, Les Perkins, Russell Brower, Jason Sorrell, Stephen Bagnini, and David Mumford, all of whom became valued Disney employees and cast members. Having been excited to receive letters on official Disney letterhead when I was young, and then being thrilled myself to be given permission to write letters on that same letterhead while I was a consultant in 1969. First seeing my entry in the Disney Studio telephone directory. Photographing Spin and Marty as a kid when they were making a Disneyland public appearance. Then as the archivist years later, getting to know them. attending the Disneyland 25th anniversary party, a private party at Disneyland, and talking to Don DeFore, the actor, about his Silver Banjo restaurant in Frontierland. Sitting next to famed saxophonist Kenny G at one Pirates of the Caribbean movie premiere, and next to Governor Schwarzenegger at the next. Thrilling to the inspiring candlelight procession almost every year. Looking through Disney comic books with comic book fan Governor George Pataki of New York. Visiting with actor Ike Eisenman on his lunch hour almost every day when he was filming Escape to Witch Mountain. He wanted to be an animator. Going into the studio, which was closed on the day after Roy O. Disney died, to keep an appointment with a man who had found Ruth Disney's grammar school graduation book in the basement of a Portland house and acquire it for the archives. Prominently featured in the book are 2 drawings by Walt Disney. We met former president of Disneyland bring his whole Disneyland executive staff up to the archives to learn about the park's history for the 50th anniversary. Having lunch with lottery winners in Walt's apartment at Disneyland with the Disneyland executive chef. Being the first speaker at a series of special Club 33 members' dinners at Disneyland. Getting to know Ralph Kent and Milt Albright, 2 pack rats who saved lots of Disneyland memorabilia and turned it over to the archives.
Any other volunteers?
Installing Walt's offices in the Walt Disney Story at Disneyland and being able to take groups of Walt Disney Story cast members into the offices for orientations. Seeing Ronald Reagan, Bob Cummings, and Art Linkletter at the 35th anniversary of Disneyland, and then getting to know Art well as he became a Disney legend and sailed with me on a Disney cruise. Being able to meet with most of the Disney parks' original designers, hearing their stories. Sitting in Roy O. Disney's office and hearing him reminisce about the early days. Going to Disneyland several days pre-opening to have tours behind the scenes through all the attractions. Participating in radio and TV interviews for numerous press events, the biggest one being the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World right here. I did 45 interviews in 3 days. Participating, no, I said that. A number of times having Disneyland President Cynthia Harris run up and give me a hug. She was very friendly. Becoming an unofficial buyer to help stock the Disneyana shop with old Disneyana items when it first opened. Being photographed in the archives with Disney Comics legends Carl Barks and Floyd Gottfredson. Working as an actual costume Disneyland cast member at several cast Christmas parties on Big Thunder, Pirates, Autopia, Small World, and even the Disneyana shop. Being able to stand one day on top of the Matterhorn with its expansive view. Finding the graves of Walt Disney's maternal grandparents in the Ponciana Cemetery in Paisley, just 50 miles north of here. Being on Walt Disney World's Main Street the day they paved it in 1971. Riding twice on Walt's Grumman Gulfstream airplane from Burbank to Orlando, and even sitting in Walt's seat. He had a phone to the pilot right next to him, and an airspeed indicator, and an altimeter, so he could keep track on what the plane was doing.